System is slow. Hi. If okay. So hello again. This is the second part of the project as promised. The first video I made explained all of this. I hope you have no questions from that and you're very familiar with it. It basically explains the code running on your terminal, everything you need to do locally, everything you need to do on your own computer. No internet necessarily required. The only point at which internet is required is when you have to connect to Google Sheet or you want to run tests. So basically it's everything that runs locally on your computer. So the next part is going to be taking things up a notch. We're going to be setting up our server, and I can see that's what the second stage is for. I know you've seen that I put it in. You think that since we're dealing with digital Droplet Ocean, at least it should come up here, but trust me, it is. It's just not very pronounced, but I'll explain as we move on. Okay, so first thing, I know that this wasn't a very laid out plan for how the second video is going to go, so I made a better plan, and the first thing we're going to do is create a droplet. So man, I'm so hot. Okay, I hope this is not so much interference. I just need a bit of fan right now. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. All right, now, so first thing we do is create a droplet, and I'm logged into the the server DigitalOcean, and under email ID over, the first thing I do is create a droplet. Now, like I explained from the last video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have some kind of identifier that makes it easier for us to organize our project. So before I go on to that, we're going to be working with Ubuntu, mostly because that's the best operating system I can work with, and well, I'll leave this as standard for now. But as regards this, I'm not exactly sure. I believe what we are running is not so large, really not so large, but I think I'll do some more. Maybe you should do some more research about this. We don't need memory, we just need RAM, and I think that's what CPU optimization is about. So maybe $40 per hour is the idea, but if you can't afford that, then you can go for either $10 or $15 per hour. I don't really know if that would matter. We wouldn't know until we try it. So basically I would go for the 10 for now, and when I select it, I don't want to add any volume, definitely not. Forget all of this, just one-time password is fine, one droplet. Now in the name, the way I'm going to set up the name is so that it's easy for me to identify, like I said. So imagine if currently we're in our project folder where we have, so I made some changes to this. I moved, initially these two folders were out here, so I created a folder called sheet instances where I stored them now, so you can see that they are currently in here. And I created some extra folders like my keys, and then I created this new file, droplet password.txt. Now so just so you understand that you keep track of the folder structure from the last video. So I'm going to be working with Bradley. Somehow I like the guy, probably because he's the one who created everything, or is a beginner or everything. Don't mind me, I'm just joking. So basically I'm going to start with this guy. I'm going to copy everything like this, right? And I'm just going to name my server that, so that it's easy for me to recognize that, okay, when I see the server running, I know that it belongs to this sheet or this username. You understand? Now Digital Droplet has some issues with naming convention. It essentially does not allow at. So what I can do is, since all of them are at gmail.com, I can just remove the gmail at gmail.com, and then so the format of the naming would be the sheet ID and then the username of the account that will be logged in when you're doing the scraping, excluding the at gmail.com. If you want to add some tags, you can decide to do this, just add some tags to, like so you can, in case you want to search by username, you can do that, and so on and so forth. So basically that's everything that you need to do for now. And then we'd, of course, okay, well, you could add an image, I guess, but I don't really think that's important right now. Now create a droplet. And while that is loading, the next thing I'm going to tell you about is that you're going to need, you're going to need PuTTY. I call it PuTTY. This is still loading. We're going to need something called PuTTY to connect to Digital Droplet. You're going to need something called PuTTY to connect to Digital Droplet. I'm not exactly sure where the download site is, but I'm assuming when you Google it, yeah, go to connect to PuTTY. Don't worry too much about, I'll just get the link for you and create a, let me see where you can download that. Okay, so this is the website. Awesome. So this is the website where you can download. I'm going to create a notepad and I'm going to store everything for you there. You come to this website and depending on your installer, whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit, you install. So this is the installer, right? For 64-bit, this is installer. For 32-bit, this is installer. I think there's another one called you know what? Let's try and install that. This might take some time to download. You might need okay. So basically, come on. Takes forever with this guy. So I'm just running the tests to see whether I'm missing. Okay. Let's PuTTY. I think when you install PuTTY, it comes. So when you install PuTTY, this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. PuTTY. It comes with PuTTY and PuTTY. So I'm going to show you where they're stored. Oh, so freaking hot. I'm interested. It's not here. Okay, so this is PuTTY. When you install it, it comes with PuTTY and PuTTY. We'll explain what PuTTY is for later, but for now we're going to use PuTTY. So come back to our digital droplet. It's now loaded. So wow, awesome, it's loaded now. There are ways. Right now, this is the name of our digital droplet. This is the IP address, and these are the tags. You can click on it. That is creating a digital droplet. Now, how do you connect a digital droplet? You can decide to, when you click on the digital droplet, you click on console. It pops out a window that is kind of similar to a command line interface, like a Linux interface where you type and all of that. So basically, this is how it looks, right? This is basically how it looks. Yeah. So, or I don't really use this a lot. I prefer to use PuTTY. So you download PuTTY. After you download PuTTY, you install it, and then you open PuTTY on your computer. How do you work with PuTTY? First of all, there's a short manual how to connect to DigitalOcean Droplet PuTTY. I'll send you the link. There's a short manual I followed that made it much easier for me to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a bit. But before I continue, you should know that when you created this digital droplet, an email was sent to the owner of this account, including the email and the username and the password of this droplet. So I believe that Morale is going to own that, and we're going to reach out to him. Hey Morale, can you send a recent mail concerning that includes the username and password for the digital droplet? And while we wait for Morale to respond, because we're going to need the password, we'll get back to what we've been doing. So yeah, so I think this is exactly the link you've been needing. So for the sake of consistency, I'm going to use this link to explain it. So on PuTTY configuration screen, fill in the label hostname or IP address within your address and blah blah blah. Now, according to that, what that means, come on, I seriously need to get rid of that. What that means is you want to get the IP address. Now this is the IP address here. You can click copy, and then you come here and you paste it in the hostname. The port is 22. And then next you want to verify the SSH, so you come to the SSH here. This is the SSH. Make sure that 2 is selected. Specify a key if needed. For now, we're not going to do this. I'm going to explain later. And then you have the username. You come to connection data, and you have the username. Now, username by default is root because we're using Ubuntu system. Username by default is root. And then we'll now save. So you can come to session here, and then you say, I want to save what I've just done. So how you do that is you type in an identifier and then click save. But like I said, I'm trying to maintain consistency. So what I do is because we're dealing with this sheet again, I use all of this like this, exactly like this. I don't know if it will accept it. Yeah, so let me just put an underscore there. I use an underscore and I click save, and voila. Now even if I close the app and I open it again, my setting and be saved. So I can just click this and click load, and when I click load, I click open. Because I'm running for the first time, it's going to ask me blah 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 all of this, and click yes, and voila, it is open. Now remember when I let me take a breather. Now remember when I mentioned that we're going to need the password. Well, I think Morale should have sent it now. Okay, so this is it. I really hate my system. Anyway, so our password is this. Our password is this. Let me make sure that we're using the same. Seriously, this is 159. This is 174. This is not the one I need, right? Let's confirm that this is not the one I need. Let's copy this. It's for this IP. The one you sent was for this guy. Exactly. So this is a password that we need. Don't worry, you might not need to save it because it's a one-time thing. Now I know you don't see it, but the best way to copy and paste, especially when you copy from here, I right clicked already and I click copy. Now to paste it here, you cannot use Ctrl V. What you use to paste in the Linux environment is by right clicking, and I've done that already, but you can't see it because this is a password. So, but by the time I press enter, come on now, that was a moment. Voila, now it's worked. Now because it's the first time I'm setting it up, it's going to ask me to change my password because obviously it doesn't want me to use that password. So obviously right now it's asked for the current password, which I've already copied, and again I right click, and although you don't see it, it is there, and then I press enter. Now it's asking for a new password. So I spoke to James or Morale yesterday, and he suggested that for our droplet, let's just use anything that requires an extra password. Let's use this. And so for all 9 droplets, I recommend that you use this. And then we'll come here and right click and paste, and again right click and paste, and we are confirmed. And right now we have access. So I typed clear there to clear the previous text. Right now we have access to our droplets in form of a command prompt. So you see the reason why, to reiterate, you see the reason why I said it is not a good idea to do the login on the server, because there's no graphic user interface for you to click. So basically this will just be like this, where we're going to run our Python code and everything. So I believe that was explanatory. If there's any question, let me know. So the next thing I want to do is that I want to send files to our server. I mean, right now we have access to our server, but we need to be able to run our script from our server, and to do that we need to send our file to our server. Now to send file to the server, the best way that I've come across is by using what I call FileZilla, and this link explains really in depth on how to do that. Don't worry, I'm going to copy all this link into a notepad and send them to you so that you can review while you're listening to the video. So I'm going to use this link. In fact, the truth is that I've not done this in a while, so I use this link to refresh my memory. First of all, you want to install FileZilla. I think this link should provide a where place. I don't know. FileZilla. Okay. So I think FileZilla is paid for. So I don't know how you want to do it. You might decide to pay for it. I don't know if it's paid for. I think it's free. It's free. Good. So you can download it from the website. Click on download server, not client, server. And then when you run it, when you download this, excuse me, and you run it, you would have what you look like this. This is FileZilla. Are you remember? This is FileZilla. Now, the next step, according to our page, excuse me, is now okay. So it says that after all the story now, it said the prerequisite is that you need to have a key, an SSH key for Windows users. So luckily for us, when you click on this link, you have this is going to explain how you get a SSH key, and again I'm going to work with you on it. Now all of these are just stories and stories and stories. So the first thing I want to do is open what I call PuTTY key generator or PuTTY. Now, when you installed PuTTY came with it. PuTTY came with it, and that is PuTTY. And the first thing you want to do, it gave it step by step. Very good. It says for type of key to generate, select RSA, as I've done here. It said the number of bits in there, select either 2048 or 4096. For now it's 2048. Let's keep it simple, right? And now you click generate. Now it says your mouse pointer might be required. You might move your mouse pointer around in the blank area of the key below, blah blah blah. So this, according to that, you need to move your mouse around here because it's going to use it to generate the key. Okay, now a public or private key has now been generated. In the key comments, you store, according to this, it says you give your key a key comment that will make it easy to identify. And like I said, for the sake of identification and organization, I'm going to give you the same as James Bradley, and copy this. I could just copy everything itself, in fact, and then just paste it right there, and then we know that okay, right now this set of key belongs to James Bradley. Now the key phrase is not necessary. If you want to use a key phrase, no problem, but the problem about that is that when you use a key phrase, you need to be entering it every time. Now I don't know how you are on security. Remember how Morales said you can use this password anytime you're required to use a new password? Well, if you want to use a key phrase, you can do this. So by the time I click copy and I paste it here, again here, it becomes my key phrase. Now the next step you want to do is save public key and save private key. Again, although they didn't say it in the words I'm about to use, but they implied it. Save it into a folder that you will have access to and for organization. So you save public key, and then, so what I did this time was that, sorry, let me go. I'm going to go to Morales folder. This is the project folder. Now I have a folder called my keys. That's why I created it. And like I said, for organization, because I'm dealing with one particular sheet, I'm going to create another folder here that would have the same information as this. The reason why I'm doing that is because inside my folder I'm going to have two different type of keys. Right now we're dealing with the public key. Let me confirm. Say public key. We're dealing with the public key. So when I navigate back to James Todd, sorry, excuse me about that. James Todd program. Yeah. So right now we're trying to say public key. Like again, I said I do this, but since this one is not, I don't want to make too much fuss about this. I do in fact, you can just clear all of it and then just say underscore public. Really. So you know that this is the sheet we are working with and this is the public key, and then you save it. Now the next step, I hope you got all of that. Now the next step is this files, all of this we're going to use them. So you right click on this window, select all, right click and copy. Now I recommend that you save it in a notepad if you are going to close this app, but if not, you can still leave it. Now the website now says we are going to go to our PuTTY server to set up our keys on the PuTTY server. Now I can close this. I can just, okay, right now we're on our PuTTY server, so we don't necessarily need to close it anymore. And then we'll copy. I'm going to be copying the code one by one, and for that sake I'm going to minimize this so I can add 2 pages. Okay, good. So I'm going to copy this first. Copy, right click it to paste, press enter. Now it says that you cannot create directory because it already exists, and this code says that if your SS folder does not exist, you're creating manually. So naturally we don't need to do this anymore, but I'm a sticker for rules, so I'm just going to do it again. Just, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It will override what has been done before, right? So just for the sake of safety, do it again. Copy, right click, save. Now right now we're following the step. The next thing is you use this line of code, copy this, right click, save. Now the code, the instruction said tap I on your key on your window. Now when I type I, it wants me to now right click mouse and paste this guy that I copied earlier. So I right click and copy again to be sure that that's what I have. and right click once, and I've pasted it. Now it said to save, tap the following key in order. First tap escape, then tap semicolon, then tap W, Q, and press enter. Now I'm not sure if you saw that, but follow this tutorial and this link especially, and you will get it clearly. Now next step is we have our key associated with our server. Now we're going to want to include it, want to disable the every time we log into our PuTTY server, we don't want to have to be typing password and password every time. So I can exit this. We don't need this anymore. We can close this. Thank you for your service, but we don't need it anymore. Now we'll open PuTTY server once more. Open PuTTY server once more, and this time we'll go like, okay, you know what? Remember we're dealing with this guy, so I load it again. It says in this name. So everything is seen here up until here, up until stage 7. We've done already. We've done it before, so we can continue from stage 8. So I load the information. Stage 8, you can go through each of them and then go through them one by one to make sure that you're doing the same thing. Stage 8 said expand SSH category under connection. This is the SSH, and go to auth. That's this guy. Now it says browse for the private key. It said browse your file system and select your previously created private key. So I click on browse. I go to where I studied, which was in James project. Remember, for this guy, we're dealing with the private key. Oh my god, I didn't save the private key. How could I have missed that? I only saved the public key. Shoot. So we're going to have to do all of this again. I'm not going to explain this part. I'm just going to do it again because, well, you already know how it works. So first I want to do puttygen. Need to do randomness. While that is done, we'll store our information. So I'm just going to delete these guys. I'm going to delete them. Useless to me now. And then I copy this and I paste it in here. I can get rid of the @gmail.com, put an underscore, and my key phrase, like I explained earlier, was this guy. So paste, save public key. I'm going to save it in the same place, and then we'll name it the same way you did earlier. So copy this guy and then paste it here. Obviously we can remove all of this and just call it public. Then you click save. Can do this now. This was what I didn't do last time. I didn't save the private key, and I'm doing that now. So we'll do the same thing here, and instead of public we use private, and we are good to go. Now don't close it, obviously. Go back to our PuTTY server. This guy we need to get rid. Okay, so we have to load it and then open it so that we can access the we can do this that I mentioned earlier, all of this saving the public key on the server. So don't refresh that. So the password, of course, is this guy. Remember, we changed the password already when we first created the app. Then we are in. Now we'll follow the command one by one. So let me just minimize this to the side so that we can work together. Come on. So copy this, paste it here, enter, copy this, paste it here. Let me copy it now. Copy this, paste it here, enter, copy this, paste it here, enter. Sorry. Copy this, paste it here, enter. I believe that was the last step. Then we'll go into our public keys. Now, because we already had something there before, Instead of just pasting, I'm going to clear it first. I'm going to clear what I had before. And now I can paste. Sorry, this is not what I'm pasting. This is, I have to come back here, Ctrl A, select all, copy, and then come here and paste it. And as I said before, to save, escape, semicolon, WQ, enter. And now our stuff is saved. Now we can exit it. And then we can close this. Thank you very much. Now, the next thing we want to do is now, so I think now I can have your attention. I'm sorry, that was a mistake on my part. I shouldn't have done that, but I hope that you're still understanding, you're still with me. So next thing we want to do is come to put in. And we'll go to SSH. Another SSH will go to auth. And then we'll search for our private key. Now it is stored. No, this is not it. When I go to James Upward, I go to private, I go to my keys. Now the private keys are available. I can click open, and like this, now the private key is available on the server. So I have to save it so that I don't have to be doing it every time. So when I click save, sorry, I'm supposed to load it first. So I load this. That was a mistake. I was supposed to load this before I added the SSH key. So I load this, I come back here and I paste the keys. Now I come back to my session and I save it. So what happens now is that when I open PuTTY again and I load this setting, if you go to SSH and you go to auth, it's already linking to my private key. So what that allows me to do is that when I open my server, it should naturally not ask me for a password. It shouldn't ask me for a passphrase. But the reason why it asks me for a passphrase, like I told you before, is because let me just show you. Sorry, let me quickly show you what that meant. Remember earlier when I said key passphrase, and it's because I entered the passphrase here. So it's whatever passphrase here I entered that I'm now going to be using. So although it coincides rather with the fact that I use this, but if I were to use different passphrase here, then that's what I'm going to be using to log in. If I were to not use any passphrase here, then this wouldn't ask me, it wouldn't be asking me for a login. Are you with me? So if I left this empty and I continue what I was doing, by the time I got to this stage, I wouldn't need a passphrase. So basically, if you feel like typing a passphrase is too much trouble for you, then you can exclude it. Or if you want to type a passphrase, you can use something that you're familiar with, so it's easy for you to type it in. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this guy and paste it here and enter, and voila, we're into the system. So SSH keys are just a way of securing your servers. So now we can exit this. Thank you for your time. We don't need any of this anymore. Okay, I'm still saving this. So the next step is, remember, we're still working with FileZilla. We just figured out how to create our key. So let's do the actual thing. Now FileZilla says open FileZilla, and say from the top of the home screen, click edit and settings. So sorry, I don't need the new version. I click edit and I click settings. Now this website then says click on add key button and browse your local directory to select your private key. It said come to connection. Oh, sorry. It said under the connection first, highlight SFTP. Under connection, highlight SFTP. Now it says click and add or the add key file button and browse your local machine to select your private key. Now this one I had it before, so there you can ignore that. So you click on add key and then you navigate to your to where you stored the private keys. According to this, that is here. This is the private key. You can expand this to be sure. This is the private key. And then the next thing it says was that you save. Obviously you have to save this. You click OK and then you come to file and you click site manager. Now I want to add the site of the website of the server to our FileZilla. Sorry about this. I was working on it as a test. I'm going to delete it. It's not really our concern. Now we create a new site. According to the website here, it said create a new site and type in a unique name. Again, for the sake of organization, I'm going to use the same name I've been using all along, which is basically, I can either decide to use this or use everything. But for simplicity's sake, rather, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to use just this. And okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to store our host and our port number. You can go back to DigitalOcean. This is the host again. Copy it, come to FileZilla, paste it here. Your port number is 22, and your protocol has to be SFTP. Right. So sorry about that break. You select SFTP and interactive for logon type. I know this already. That's because I've spent time looking at this. If you read it, that's what it's going to tell you to do. You can ignore all of this. Ignore them. You don't need them. Ignore this as well. And we click connect. When you're done, click connect. Now it's going to ask you for your username. Obviously, that is root. It's going to ask you for a passkey, and the passkey again is the same as the ones we've been using. And that's this guy. Now, personally, I feel if you're going to have any problem, so this is the passkey. So remember, now you can see that it's connecting, it's retrieving, and voila, the directory of the server is available on the right side, while this is our directory. So if at all I want to move my code from here to here, all I need to do is navigate to where I stored it, which is excuse me, let me find that. I'm gonna increase this other space. It's in Upwork. I go to gem stored, I go to projects, I go to sheet instances. Remember, we're dealing with gem, so I can take this. This is our folder. This is what we're going to be working with. So I could just copy this whole folder and move it, click and drag it into. Okay, well, I don't want to click and drag it. First of all, I want to go to I want to store it in a fancy place. So in my server, I'm going to navigate to a more structured page. Nope, I'll navigate there. And there should be a user option. I don't want to store it in this place. I'm trying to figure out a better way to store it instead of using. The reason is the initial place that was given to us is not exactly a place where you store files. So usually in Linux environment, you come to user. User is where you store most of your files. Yeah, is that user? SRC. No, I'm no longer sure. So some MNT. I think MNT is where it is stored. Yeah, you can store your file here. Although when you run your PuTTY engine and you load and you open, you'll notice that it automatically. Let me get the password. Let me get key phrase. When you run your PuTTY engine, you notice that it automatically loads to this page. It loads to the home page, which is basically this guy. So I'm trying to find that home page. Yeah, this guy, I think. Should be this guy. Yeah, this is the home page. No, it can't be. Sorry, excuse me. Let me confirm that. Supposed to get the directory here. Sorry, let me get how to get the list of directory. I particularly had problems trying to do this, but you wouldn't, because the moment you connect to the server, this is the directory that you're loaded with. Now, I believe you're in the root folder.
Yep, you're in the root folder. So if you want to navigate back, usually I store my files in MNT. Okay, so basically, so if, for instance, if I want to move a sample of the project, I'll go to my, no, let me go back so you see that I have my file stored in my desktop, and then I go to Upwork. Really, system is, what? You're freezing. James Todd, and then I go to project and share instance. And now this is the let me expand this. This is the one for Bradley James. Now I can move this. I can either move this here, or I could copy everything. Maybe create a folder here first. Create a directory and call it script. It's not be a good idea to now, it's not be a good idea to have this kind of long folder name here. So I could just create a new folder called the scripts, move everything from here, open script, and move everything from here to script. And you will see under down here, this is where this status is showing that, okay, this is how far I've gone, and you can see how far everything is sending. You can also see this here. So sorry, this is not where you see the status. This is the status up here. It shows you when everything. So when it stops moving, you know that it's all done. Oh my! I think I put in I think the profile is in there. Okay, it's not. So I think one of the reasons why it's taking forever is because of this PyCatch and this idea. So preferably when you are sending the files, make sure you've deleted this idea and this .pycatch folder. Make sure you've deleted them. They are not large, but because they have a lot of folder in them, it will take time. So according to this, now we are done. The self file transfer succeeded and everything is in here. So this is a complete tutorial of how we move our files from one place, from our local terminal, which is this guy, to the server terminal, which is this guy. Now how do we confirm that? Let's navigate. So you know it is stored in MNT script. We can navigate by going to, let me close this and then we'll open it again so that we're sure that we're not losing any kind of, like, it's actually working. So I'm going to load this and then open it. It's going to need the passkey phrase. So I copy this and I paste it. And now it's loaded. So initially it loads initially it loads to this root folder. That's where we are right now. That's where it automatically loads to, inside the root folder. That's inside here. So let me see if I can. Here, inside here. Now to go back to the root folder, you have to use cd double dot. That'll take you back to the initial folder. And now that is where our MNT folder is. So we can do cd MNT. You with me? And that's where our MNT folder is. Now inside our MNT folder, we will see by the time you do is it dir now? So excuse me, dir. Exactly, dir is a command that will show you the directory, the list of files inside. You can see that there's a file called script. Now if we enter script and we do dir, we see all the files that we sent. Are you with me? Now that is how we successfully copy files from our terminal to the server. Review this tutorial very well. Review this link as well. This page is a sub page under this, so review this page first. It will eventually link you to this. I know this part is a little slow because I've not done this in a while, so I had to first brush up before I could do this, but I'm sure that I hope you understand. If you have any question, let me know. But one thing I would like to say before I go is another quick way I can quickly connect to a server is just putting in the host name, the username, and the password and the port. You can quickly connect that way. So instead of having to save the site manager, instead of having to come here, the only reason why we do this so that in the future we can easily just click on the site manager and click connect without having to type in the username and password. So I believe that that's mostly everything on our tutorials for this. The next step is now, since we have all our scripts in the server, how do we actually run the code? So in this part, this is where we're going to be talking about installing Python, installing the dependencies, making sure Chrome driver works on the terminal, and every other thing to make sure that the script actually works successfully. That part's going to be a bit strenuous because we might eventually end up doing some debugging in it. So you might get that much later, alright? So just review the first, make sure you understand everything so far. Let me know if you have any question, and good luck.